Nigga, we gotta start the podcast.
Oh my God, I'm trying to.
Bro, you do this every single time.
Don't be trying to put that on me. I hate that. Oh my God, let's start the podcast.
What did you slip up in my cup, girl?
It's just that when I drink, sometimes I get a little crazy.
Care to wet your whistle, Marcus?
Can I get a refill?
Oh, it's my night. I know it's gonna be good.
Written all over your face. Hey, you don't have to say a word. Still no? No? Come on. Almost there. Say you smile, you smile, you smile, you smile at me as you're not smiling. Come on. We gotta get you. Your black card needs it. The berry is gone. See through. Yeah, you're not working with us. We need you to work with us, okay?
Look, you keep pulling up with these one-off songs. That motherfuckers are supposed to know. Hit me with the main classics. I'll probably be able to help you out.
It's a main classic. I promise you. You sing that around any black person, they are going to know that song.
Clearly not, because I don't know it.
No. I said any black person. Come on. Okay, listen. If that song doesn't automatically transport you to the 80s, right, or early 90s, and if you don't see a dance, right, an 8th grade dance at some high school where they had to hold each other by the hips 5 feet apart, then you're doing something wrong.
I ain't got it, bro. You trying to go back to the 80s? I definitely ain't gonna know that shit.
Oh, come on. Oh, so you know Atomic Dog and Return of the Mac and all this other stuff, but you don't know Written All Over Your Face?
I can't hop to it. I
You
don't know
have to say a word.
Can't help you out, boss. Can't help you out.
Well,
Okay.
since you're a buzzkill, let me go ahead and just introduce the podcast. Hello, whiners. How are you all? We've missed you, even though it's only been like 7 days. It's been the longest 7 days. So welcome to the Wine Night Podcast. If you are a first-time listener, thank you for tuning in. If you are a returner, God bless you. What made you come back? I don't care. I'm just happy you're here. So, hello. It's your girl, Nia.Biaa.
Mikey bars, 3 Z's because I'm tired.
Oh, come on. You got to give the people three X's because you're nasty.
No, if I give these niggas 1 X, I'll fuck around and fall asleep in this shit.
You're right. We out here counting.
This is tired, boss. I'm tired because I finally got a gym membership. Shout out to the YMCA.
Bye.
Yeah. My first time ever going to the gym. And let me tell y'all, I want to make this a very clear statement. Anybody, make sure that there is no gray area in this statement. There is no excuse for not wearing your mask. Because I worked out twice today.
Oh, 2 times.
First time, 7 o'clock in the morning, weights. Right. Second time, what was that shit? 5 p.m. playing basketball. Both times. Mask on.
Fucking mask off. Hey.
No mask off. No fucking mask off. No fucking mask off.
No Roni Roddy? Damn, that's crazy.
Huh?
I said no Roni Roddy? That's crazy.
Listen, I didn't do the chin strap. I didn't do the let my nose breathe. Full mask on.
Full mask.
Not a disposable mask either.
Oh.
A full cloth mask.
Cloth mask. Ooh, fucking
cloth mask.
Mask
on. So
on.
with that being said, there's no excuse for not wearing your mask. It's funny because when I went to the basketball court, right, because the way they got it set up is like you reserve a spot, you reserve a court, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there was some other people, probably like around our age and shit like that in there. Sadly, they was from New York, so I'm not surprised how we give it up. But I guess I don't know what you want to call them, but whoever was working that day, right? They came in, they got to check to make sure people are wearing their masks, make sure people on the right court, things like that. They came in and they obviously didn't have their mask. As soon as I walk in the court, nobody had their mask on. Grown people, young people, no mask on. I said, oh fuck. Right? These motherfuckers right here is lady come in, he's like, oh my God, y'all can't be serious, really making us wear this mask. Like, I can't breathe. Like, it's so hard, da-da-da. And I'm like, look, if you can't breathe wearing a mask while you're working out, then you probably need to be wearing a mask more often because your cardio is terrible.
Oh.
If I can understand if you're an older person, over 30 or something like that, but if you legit early 20s and stuff like that, and you can't just wear a mask and walk up and down the street, and you're not saying, Xing out people that got asthma, those different types of things like that. But they wasn't even sweating hard. They wasn't even like playing hard enough like that. And over here making this complaint. And it's like, I'm just tired of hearing people making all these excuses not to wear a mask when it's really not that deep.
I think for me, it's like, it's the mask for me. No, but I think if you feel like you can't wear a mask, fine. But don't sign up to go places that require masks and then be mad when they say, we cannot serve you because you're not wearing your mask.
We're talking to you, college students.
That's the thing that kind of always blows my mind is like, hey, you personally want to die early, or fuck up your lungs, or you don't want to be able to smell or taste anything, be my guest. I would never stop you from being great. However, what I will say is that you knew that you couldn't come into this establishment without always wearing your mask. So you really need to do your job and your part. Either stay home or wear the mask if you want to be outside. You can't have both right now. I don't understand why people are trying to get both during a pandemic. It's one or the other. So hopefully they'll wisen up or they'll get sick. Either way, they'll learn something from that experience, I hope. So
yeah, and the thing that's killing me about it is like, I think more disappointing than them not wearing masks was the way the workers handled it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm not gonna do that because I don't know who's listening. I don't want to fuck anybody's job, so I'm gonna.
The names, like it's not like they know.
Nah, but it's like people might be like, "Yo, the YMCA in such and such place is not taking care of business and shit like that," and they fuck around and close the shit. So I was like, I'm gonna just say, you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, yes and no. I mean, everybody should be held accountable if they're not doing things correctly, because us not holding each other accountable has led to 200,000 deaths within the United States of America. So honestly, like if that means that we have to close things, even though it would go against what I would personally want, I would prefer people to be held accountable so that nobody else gets sick. And worst case scenario, nobody dies. That's me personally. So I can understand. I wouldn't put their like government names out there, but I would definitely say like, hey, I've been to this place. In general, my experience probably wasn't the best since, motherfuckers didn't want to wear their mask. And then people weren't enforcing it. And I think that's the reason why it's just not going away here. We see it's been eradicated in so many other spaces, and we just kind of refuse to do the right thing, So I don't know. That's how I feel.
I think so. Okay, so I'll do it this way. They came in right. They're close to the end of my session, right? So it was like 6 time doesn't really matter, right? So they came in. So basically, like I said, it's supposed to be 2 to a court, right? There's an A court and a B court. I guess whoever reserved the time, they all knew each other, so they went on one court and they was playing against each other, playing like a real game and shit. Well, obviously, they wasn't wearing masks, and they all cluttered up on one court, not following the rules and shit. So I'm on my side. My side's completely empty because I'm just over there getting my shots up, doing nothing. So out of nowhere, I hear a door open, and then they all scatter, and they run to the other side, right? So on the other side, I hear the ladies like screaming at them, like, "Yo, like, what are y'all doing? Y'all not wearing masks? Like, come on, what are y'all doing? Y'all all about to get suspended, shit like that." But then, long story short, they kind of start like joking with them, or some like, "Oh, all right, well, if you make a shot, we won't suspend you or things like that. First off, they're going back and forth with people with no mask on. Why is there even a conversation happening? So I say all that to say it's like, it's fucked up when even the people in charge that's responsible of enforcing rules and shit like that aren't on top of these shit. Like, it's just all bad from the top down. And that's why we just can't get nowhere. We can't move past this shit. Because even the grown-ups or the people in charge, whatever it is, they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So it's just sad because it's like, I want to be fucking done, bro. I want to breathe in fresh air when I'm outside. Like, I'm tired of walking to the store halfway being, oh, fuck, I left my mask. Like, I'm tired of that shit, bro. I'm tired of that shit.
Well, that means everybody either stay the fuck at home or wear your mask, or both. I really don't care.
Both would be nice. Both would
actually be amazing. Stay home and wear your mask at home. maybe this thing will die out a little bit. So this week, we thought we would do something, I would say a little bit different from what we've been doing the last couple of weeks, but it's kind of a throwback to how we originally had formatted our podcast. So we thought that we would touch upon one big topic today, kind of dive deep into it, and then, let you guys kind of think about that. Come back to us, tell us what you think. Instagram, Twitter now, woo, Facebook, even on YouTube, coming soon. So very excited. It's like a future.
Oh, I love me a good YouTube.
I know it. Everybody's gonna be excited. So excited. I'm very happy. But like I said, it's kind of like a throwback, but something new for whoever has just joined us, or just newly joined us within the last couple of weeks. So, Michael, would you like to introduce our topic this week?
I would love to.
Wind down.
All right, so what you trying to chat about next?
Yo, we should talk about this.
I mean, it is time for the wind down.
That's cool, but after that, I need some advice.
Let's wind down with the Wine Night podcast.
So, with that being said, I think we're all, or whoever's listening, you're most likely familiar with the phrase, some people in your life for a reason, some people like for a season, things like that, right? We've all familiar with that phrase or some version of that phrase. And with that being said, Nia and I, we've been, we have a lot of friends, people that, and also we have people that send us stuff, through the wind down and stuff like that. And came across this concept of moving on from certain friendships. Moving on, I'm not even gonna say friendships because in my opinion, friendships never end. So moving on from certain relationships.
Whoa, that's interesting.
I believe a real friend will never try to get away from you. A real friend will always be, no matter what. You can't end a real friendship. It may not be you may not see each other as much as you used to. You may not talk to each other as much as you used to. But a true friend will always be your friend. And that's why I don't believe in having that many friends. You know what I mean? It's only so many, right? We throw the word around. I'll talk about that's my friend, that's my friend, that's my friend. But when I talk about who my real friends are, when I think about what friendship means to me, there's only so many, right? Not counting your family, of course. So with that being said, I feel when I look at a lot of my peers' relationships and things like that, I see a lot of superficial relationships, and I also see a lot of relationships where one person is taking advantage of the other person in terms of, I'm going to just say whatever I want to say, or I'm going to just treat you however I want to treat you. I'm going to make quote unquote jokes at your expense just because I want to laugh, right? And things like that. And it's it gets to the point where people are so ingrained in this way of quote unquote friendship that they don't even realize that they have bad people around them, and they don't even move on from these things when they should. And it lowers our sense of self-worth and self-respect and things like that when we don't have a good idea of what a true friend is.
So what's a true friend for you?
Well, to me, I don't think you can build friendship without spending time with somebody. I think that's the first thing. You have to spend time with that person. Like, there is no shortcut to that. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, we just bonded so quickly." You got to spend time. Like, don't get me wrong, you got a strong, burning flame of a foundation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know this kind of sounds like the words I'm using kind of sound like a relationship, but that's also because you and I both agree that all relationships are founded on friendship, right? But understand that friendship has those things as well, has those aspects of affection and love and, and things like that. So it should burn. It should have a passion aspect to it. Like, ain't nobody gets me tighter than my friends. Like, nobody, right? So with that being said, a friend is someone that I spend time with. And another thing is, a friend is someone that they let me be Mike. I think that's the number one thing I appreciate in my true friends. Like, I tell you all the time, like, shout to Annie, because I tell you, like, Annie, like, we love you. Like, one of my favorite things about Annie was, like, and Kai, those two, they let me be me. And best Mike, worst Mike, whatever the case may be, they let me be me. And they embraced me, and they also held me accountable when I needed to do better, right? In their own way. You know what I mean? Some are extremely blunt, and they'll just tell me what it is, and some will be more affectionate and hand-holding and things like that. But I always know I can count on them to hold me accountable and things like that. And they make me better because I want to be good for them. Like, when I think about, when I think about Kai and Andy and, like, the things that, I was going through and that when I was with them in grad school and stuff like that, there were times I was just like, I can't bullshit right now because I want to make sure Kai and Annie are proud of me, right? And things like that. So those are the things how I would describe a friend. How about you?
I think we definitely differ a little bit in terms of friendship. I used to base friendship off of how much time you have spent with someone. But for me personally, I've realized that I don't think time is not that big of a benefactor, because I've known people my whole life that I wouldn't necessarily consider like a really good friend, right? But we've spent the time, like they put the time in. However, there are people that I've met within the last year, last 6 months, last yesterday that have like will ride for you, like to
That's a fact.
So I personally don't, equate time to the level of friendship that we have. Now, I will say that I think time adds value to that friendship in terms of like, oh man, we've been friends for like 15 years. That is amazing, because I'm sure we've been through ups, downs, sideways, whatever. However, I don't think that is the only thing that for me, not to say that is for you, but that's not the only thing that kind of equates to what a friend would be. I think a friend is somebody who loves you, somebody who supports you, somebody who challenges you, kind of like you said. For those people, they hold you accountable, but they also are like there to support you when you do something stupid. Or when something stupid happens to you, right? Like, we were just watching Girlfriends the other day, and we were having like a little bit of a discourse about like Joan and Tony and their relationship, and Joan being an enabler and all this other stuff, right? And people taking advantage of her. I really just think that it's the way people treat you and how they look out for you that really, for me, determines how much of a friend you are. And no bullshit. So like, my friends are able to come to me and say things in a very respectful way, but a very like true and blunt way, right? Like, I'm noticing X, Y, and Z. Are you okay? Because if not, I am concerned. And I think that a true friend won't bullshit you, right? Like, once you spend some time getting to know each other, and they really care about your well-being, they'll tell you what's up and they'll ride for you. Sometimes right and wrong. You would hope it's more right than wrong. But at the same time, I've seen my friends do some wild shit and I'll still fight you for them. So it is what it is.
It's funny you stopped that, because as you were talking, I thought about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, I think another sign of a good friend is they might do something for you that after the fact, you tell them, Yeah, you did that for me, but I wouldn't have done that for you. But it'd be all love. Like,
oh damn, no, I don't think I've done that.
no, you have. But think about it, like with us, right? You know how we always argue about the fact that, like, Michael, how come you always be trying to avoid fights and I'd be ready to fight for you and I'd be doing all this stuff? But I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have done that. But here we are, right? I mean, or I wouldn't have handled it that way. And it's like, knowing now that you would do that, I'm more inclined to do it for you. But I think what I'm just saying is like, your friends sometimes are like, y'all are opposites, but y'all still find a way to just mesh. And y'all accept each other's differences and opposites. And you keep going from that. And you find a happy middle. So again, like, I'm not a rah-rah person, but you might put me in a rah-rah situation and now I gotta fake it. And I'm gonna be mad as fuck afterwards.
Well, I think if you're actually their friend, you wouldn't put them in a situation that would do that. There are some friends where I know get busy. I mean, like, get busy. Like, you on 10, they on 15. Like,
off rip.
Right. And so, like, this is a conversation we've had before where I was saying, like, look, I personally know that you not with the rah-rah shit. So I might pop off at the mouth a little bit, but I would never intentionally, on my part, take it to a place where it would, what do old people say, turn into fisticuffs, right? Like,
I guess some furniture start moving.
Yeah, to start shifting, right? Like, I personally, now, not to say that it would never get to that point, but I would never put you in that position to that extent, right? And I have some friends that, like, that I say never threw a punch, and I would never be like, why you didn't have my back, knowing damn well they didn't throw a punch. That's not even being a good friend on my part, right? Like, so how could I be mad at you, but I'm not doing my part as a good friend, personally? And like I said, there's some people I know gets the shaking. So I know, like, if I'm on 10, they on 15 and we out. Like, when I'm jumping, everybody hair is pulling. I don't care what's going on. Like, it's rumble, okay? Like, that's what's going on. But I know who those friends are and I know who those friends aren't, right? And that's one, knowing yourself, because you also have to understand, like, who you are as a person, but also having those conversations with people. And I think there's definitely levels to friendship. Like, I don't have to be your best friend. And also I have people who are like sisters to me and there is no conversation, right? Like, they might not fight, but I do. And that's just what that boils down to. So I think there's levels. Not every friend, even if they are a good friend, you know, gets every part of you. You know what I mean? Certain friends are for certain things, which I guess goes into, you know, what you were talking about in terms of, you know, there's a season for everybody.
So I think this, moving on to now, kind of like the real purpose of this conversation. What lets you know it's time to move on from a friend?
Woo!
And I want to make this a 2-part question. First, let's talk about, how do you know when it's time to distance yourself from a friend? Meaning you're still friends, but I realize, you know what? We not what we were before, and we cool, but I'm gonna keep it moving.
I think,
talk to me about that process in your mind.
I think for me personally, I know it's time to move on from a friendship when we are, like, not growing together, right? And, like, we're not seeing eye to eye. Like, we've had those conversations. Like, for me, I don't personally drop friends just because we've had some type of falling out, right? Like, I don't just discard friendships because of how much they mean to me, how important they are. So I personally, like, it takes a lot for me to say, I have to back away from you. Like, you would have to show me something that shows that we are not on the same level of what we understand as friendship to be, right? So if I'm willing to throw punches for you, but you might be, I feel like there's distance, you know, between us, or, like, you know, we're just not gelling anymore. Like, I think after having conversations, because I'm a big advocate on, like you said, all relationships are the same at the base, right? If there's a problem, you should talk about it. I would always try and talk about it. I would always try and work things out because people change, like, truly. So after that though, and we're just still not seeing eye to eye, and there's still like a lot of tension and whatever the case may be, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, look, I don't have no malice towards you. We ain't got no beef. We just weren't where we used to be, and I appreciate the time that we had. You know what I mean? It's just not the season is, for that. So.
So, do you believe in being friends with someone that you know isn't? Are you friends with people who don't treat you the way that you'd like them to treat you?
No, because that's not what a friend does, right? Like, for me personally, I think friendships are essential, right? like
Motherfucking right.
something. They make the world go round, to be completely honest. To be able to bond with people and to build a bond and to know that you're not alone in this world is something that's extremely important. And so if, again, we have a conversation, because maybe we are growing out of things. It's kind of like Issa and Molly, right? Like, they had a relationship that worked in a certain way when they were younger, but they're growing now and they need to grow together, right? And they have to have those conversations and grow together. If you recognize that somebody is not necessarily treating you right and you've had conversations and they're still not treating you right, then no, I would have to say you aren't like my friend in the long run. Or it's just time to put a little bit of distance and maybe like revisit this at another time, right? But we probably don't need to be as close to each other as we are right now. Because truly, honestly, your friend, sometimes you put morals aside for your friend. Sometimes you put, your differences aside for your friend. You will make a lot of exceptions for your friend in order for them to feel good. And I think that is the most beautiful part of it. Like, you are willing to sacrifice to yourself in order for them to be okay. And honestly, if I'm the only one doing sacrificing, that doesn't really sit right with me, What about you?
I'll accept it in phases.
Mm-hmm.
And I also recognize that male relationships are different from female ones. Yeah. You can't really say women relationships. That don't make no grammatical sense. So, hold it down. I'm not doing all that. Okay. So it's different because, like I've said, men are terrible friends to each other. I've said this to you numerous times, and I might have never said this on the podcast, but I believe that men are terrible friends to each other. And now that, and I say it all the time, I credit you with showing me what real friendship and relationships are like. Looking at how you and your friends and how your family interact with each other, I'm like, wow, like, you showed me a level of affection and love and caring and passion I've never seen before outside of a romantic relationship, right? So I start to, not to say I expect too much from my male friends, I expect more than they expect, right? So with that being said, my level of what I accept is much higher than probably than you would accept, I would say, because I just know that male relationships and friendships are just, it's a lot of growing that needs to be done that it's not there yet at my age. Like, we're not there yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Most of us aren't there. Some of us are still immature. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're all immature and different, but some are just immature in that aspect. So yeah, I would be friends with someone who doesn't necessarily treat me the way for a certain amount of time though. After a while, if you're not changing, I've told you a few times, then it's just like, you know what I mean? We got to kick you to the curb. I wanted to ask you, so then you talked about what it's like to move on from someone that, you're still friends, but you're moving away. How do you know it's time to just cut someone off and it's time to go?
Oh, when there's absolute disrespect. Like, when shorty, like, just doesn't give a fuck, like, I mean, you will always catch the vibe of somebody who, like, no longer fucks with you. Like, you...
Listen, vibes don't lie, y'all.
Listen.
You never heard it before.
There is nothing that will... I don't know. It's like the universe just starts talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, for me personally, that's how I feel. I've had people where it was just like very clear cut how they felt, right? And even if they didn't say or cuss me out or, you know what I mean, like directly, actions definitely speak louder than words to me in friendship, right? Because a lot of people have a gift of gab. They know how to make things sound amazing. However, if you're showing me every single day, like basically fuck you, or I don't matter, or how I feel doesn't matter, or whatever the case may be, then I know that it's time to move on. Because I feel as if I have a lot of patience in that area of saying like, okay, recognizing where our relationship started and where our relationship is now might be completely different, right? Like we might be two different people. So we might need to come together and like retry some shit, right? But it really takes two people to make a friendship work and make a bond work. I personally I've always caught the vibe. Like I will disappear in a hot second if I feel as if there's smoke, if I feel like type of contention, honestly, because that shit is like bad for you.
Protect yourself.
Honestly, I don't have time for bad relationships. I don't have time for bad friendships. Like we just don't need to be in each other's lives like that. I mean, it is what it is at the end of the day. So, yeah, I don't, it's a vibe, literally.
Interesting. Okay. So why do you think, so we talk about this a lot. Why do you feel like people are in such bad friendships, bad relationships?
I think that people don't recognize, how much work it takes to be in a friendship. Think of how much work it takes to be in a relationship and apply that to your friendship. Like
it's fucking harder because ain't no sex.
Yeah, like it's a lot more work. Like you said, I don't owe you. You think I don't owe you anything, but if I am your friend, then I do owe you those conversations. I do owe you, I owe you the respect and I owe you the connection. I owe you the blase, blase, blase. If I am claiming to be your friend, in my opinion, communication goes a long way. A lot of people don't have that sometimes with their friends. You think their friends are supposed to just like read their minds? Absolutely not. Making sure you stay in contact with your friends is extremely important. Like if I'm the only one hitting you up over and over and over again, it's showing me that I'm the only one
counting the messages.
Listen, I'm just saying, like it's literally like a relationship. You have to be able to apply those same type of like ideas and those same like those same tactics that you would use to have create and have a healthy romantic relationship. I feel like you have to apply it. Do you feel as if, that's something that you have learned to do or that you do in general?
Well, what?
In terms of like applying what you would do in a romantic relationship to a certain extent, like you're not gonna fuck your friend. Well, I mean, maybe something. And apply that to your friendships.
Yeah, like I said, it was a lot of it was because of you. Because I've always felt that. The standard I hold people to now, I've always felt this way. I just never did until I met you and realized, oh no, I'm not bugging. This is what I deserve. I was so sick and tired of, we gonna meet up at 5? I get there, fucking ghost town. I get a message 2-3 hours later. Oh yeah, bro, I fell asleep. And I'm only knowing this because I hit them up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it was like, I got sick and tired of that. I was like, you know what? I'm not sitting here and standing for this no more. Like, you gotta treat my friends. I'll be damned if my friends, quote unquote, are treating me worse than stand there sometimes the people I don't fuck with.
No, for real.
Your enemy's gonna meet up because they want to violate you.
Nah, for real. They gonna be there after school on time.
They're gonna be there. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It gets frustrating after a while. It's like I got sick and tired of that. You know what I mean? And I got sick and tired of the microaggressive jokes, the little Haitian jokes, or the little jab shit. Like you know what? The hair jokes. Like I'm tired of that shit. I don't want that no more. And I'm also tired of explaining to you why I don't want to hear that no more. So after a while, I just got like, you know what? Like, fuck it. I'd rather, and I think this is partly what keeps people in bad relationships. I'd rather be by myself with my basketball than with y'all motherfuckers. Like, like, please understand. Like, I lived a very alone life.
Yeah.
As far as how my childhood was, and not to say I didn't have a loving family and things like that. It was just, having to go to school on my own and living far. Like I spent a lot of time on my own, so I don't need people. I want people in my life, but I don't need them. You know what I mean? So with that being said, it was easy for me to just be like, you know what, y'all motherfuckers is not treating me right. So I think that's a big part of it. Is like people are afraid to be alone now because we're always with people now. At any moment, like on my phone right now, like I can be with whoever I want at any time. So I think there's a fear of being by yourself. I think there's a fear of not being a part of a group. You know what I mean? Being a part of something. Because if I lose this one friend or I lose that connection to that thing or whatever, and it's like, nah, you're somebody before that friendship or that relationship.
That's fact.
You don't have to be tied to it,
Okay. So then for you in particular, like what tips do you have for like the listeners to say, okay, if you see like these characteristics, you probably should run for the hills. Like what does that look like for you in general?
Oh man. I think one of the first things is one, when you find yourself explaining your quote unquote friend to your other friends. When you find yourself constantly explaining your friend to your other friends, that's a sign. It's like, wait a second. I think that's a really important thing. Or not maybe to your family. Oh, when you gotta explain anybody to your mother, then you gotta get them out.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact.
You gotta get them out.
That is a fact.
If you gotta explain them to your mother, then that's a
and that you said that one line like, oh, what happened to she's dead. She's dead. That's what happened to her. She's dead.
Or if your mother is telling you that ain't the one and you over here trying to argue it, that ain't the one. She told you.
That's a
She's
fact.
not wrong.
I will say that my mom has literally called out every bad friend. Like
every single one.
Honestly, maybe she was off by like one or two in terms of she didn't catch that one particular person not being a good friend. But anytime she was like, that ain't it. Damn it. That's like the equivalent. That's like the friend equivalent of, oh yeah, I had a dream. God damn it.
Damn it. I can't go, y'all. I can't.
One eyelash on, the other one was trying to put the other one on. Like, nah, I can't leave. That look crazy.
But yeah, once you got to start explaining that person to other people, then it's a dub. And I would say one more, because I want to make sure that you go as well. I think another one is when it gets to a point where you get apprehensive about being around them. Some things like that, because you know that they might do something. A friendship is a peaceful place, right? Not to say that it's so when there is turmoil, it's not the norm.
Yeah.
I mean, it should feel out of place when y'all are at odds. It should legit. I'm not gonna say it should tear at you, but if you and your friend are at odds, that shit should be on your mind throughout the day. Like, yo, like, me and this person not right. Because that's your friend. You know what I mean? So, when it gets to a point where it's like, oh, I'm about to, like, oh, they just texted me or they just did this or whatever. It's like what they about to say or things like that. Or you don't know if you should tell them something or in case like that ain't your friend.
Woo. Amen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I impeding on yours?
Man, it's a word. I'm feeling the ghost. I'm feeling the Holy Spirit.
Go ahead, take it.
You want a revolution? Whoop whoop. That's how I'm feeling. No, that last one is like really real. I had this one friend where it was getting to the point that anytime I felt like I had to vent, right, or like something was on my mind, like I felt like we were close enough that I could go to them and talk about it, but I also didn't feel comfortable enough going to them and talking about it. Like I felt like I was being judged. And I definitely think that is like a huge no-no, like in a friendship. Like if you're starting to feel like they might judge you or they're judging you harshly, like it's a look down upon, I think that's when you have to start like rethinking that friendship. That personally, I think, you shouldn't have to feel like that. It shouldn't feel like a mother-daughter relationship. Well, your mother and daughter relationship shouldn't feel like that either. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like it shouldn't feel like a parent and a child. I think once you've gotten to that part, you probably need to like relook. I think when you are putting more into the relationship than you're getting out, and as for any relationship, like if you just feel yourself constantly doing and pouring and pouring and pouring, but nobody's filling your cup back up. Like they're not taking the time to say like, okay, like, you helped me out the last 7 times, right? And not to say you should be counting, but I got you. Like, what do you need? Are you okay? Like I have a few very strong friends and every once in a while I just have to be like, you motherfuckers all right? Like y'all are going through stuff too. And that's real. That's really important, I think. And then I think there's also just the respect factor in general. I know so many people who try to have conversations with their friends and it turns into a debate, like, oh, you're hurting me, right? Like it becomes a them show now, like, or they're not listening to what your needs are. Or if you come to them and they're like, I just didn't feel comfortable, like, or I feel like you're not listening to me, whatever the case may be, and they're not respecting that, or they're not doing any self-reflection, it might not be a very healthy relationship because it might mean that that relationship is on their terms and how they want it, and that might mean you might be pouring more than they are willing to give, which I think kind of goes back to what I said before. Like there's levels to friendships, and I think it's really necessary to know what friends are on what level, because not everybody I'm going to fisticuffs for. Not to say that I don't care about them. We just haven't reached a point where I feel comfortable doing those things. And I think there's nothing wrong with recognizing what level of friendship you want certain people to be on, so that you can continue to build in a healthy way. But if you're coming to them and you're like, look, we had a conversation about X, Y, and Z. It left me feeling like A, B, C. I would really appreciate it if you would, I don't know, take the time to think a little bit more about this subject before, you comment, and they're like, yo, bro, you're bugging, like, fuck you. And they just kind of like attack you like an abusive relationship would. It's probably time to go. That's
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up then. Wrap it up then.
You mind if I say, oh, my bad.
No, please, go ahead.
No, you going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I wasn't. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was going to say one last thing. Your friend is a lockbox. When you put something in there, it should stay there. Your friend should be a lockbox.
That is a fact and a half, bro.
Your friend should be a lockbox. When you put something in there, I'm going to say it again. Your friend should be a lockbox. When you put something in there, it should stay there. So when I tell you A, B, and C, I shouldn't go anywhere else and hear about A, B, and C. Motherfuckers can tell me about D, E, F, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3, all that shit. But A, B, and C, I should not hear that from nobody else. And I hear, and I'm telling you, like, and the wild part, the part that's fucking me up about it now is like, it's to the point where motherfuckers is not holding water to the point where they just open about it. They was like, yeah, I told such and such about your shit. Ha 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 ha. Like, my nigga, I told you that shit in confidence. Like, I was down and I needed to get that shit out and I just needed to say it. Like, I may not have even really meant it, but I just had to say that.
Mm-hmm.
You just went and ran with that shit. You just did that. So it was like, again, like shit might slip by accident. You know, they might tell someone that they thought that, oh, okay, me and you was like, better yet, your friend is a lockbox. What you put in there should stay in there. And they better not give the key to a motherfucker that's trying to steal your shit. And what I mean by that is the last person they should be telling is anybody you got beef with. They might accidentally, tell, you know, the other person in the friend group and be like, oh, Dave, you weren't supposed to tell them. But fuck it, we all super cool, you know what I mean? We can get through it. But they really, 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 really shouldn't be telling motherfuckers you got beef with. So it's like, it's just making sure that, like, that person you call friend, you can truly trust them with your secrets and your thoughts and things like that. Because I see it too often.
I mean, but that's hard. I think once they show you, right? Once they show you the first time, you always tell me, you better believe that shit. Like,
believe that motherfucker.
they show you your colors, you need to believe it. Because like you said, if I'm sharing something in confidence, if I am taking the time to be vulnerable with you, then it is extremely important that, you know, I can trust that you will not take my vulnerability and throw it to the wind, right? To whomever. And like you said, it's okay if something slipped, there's some accidents, we're all human. At the same time, like you said, nobody I don't fuck with should know.
Yeah.
Like
maybe if in the friend group.
And if you do that, you need to look at yourself and say, are you the bad friend? Because sometimes there's some real intrinsic shit that needs to go on in there. And people need to like think about like, am I exhibiting these behaviors when my friends are telling me these things? So I would always take the time to be like, what are you doing? What aren't you doing? Yada, yada, yada. So I think that yeah, that's it for me.
Shit, that's all you got? That's all we got?
That's all I got. That's all I got.
Oh, yeah. It was nice to take it back to like the old days.
I know. We should do this more often. At least once.
Top it up a bit.
Yeah.
Top it up. But all right. So let's wrap it up then. So y'all know how this go. So we made it to this point. One of two things is happening. One, you listen to the whole thing and we're thankful for you tuning in. Or two, you're not really listening. And it's just background noise for you. So if it's the first, remember to like, subscribe, share with at least one person you know who needs a glass of wine. It's a good conversation. And if it's also, check us out on Instagram at the Wine Night Pod. And also we go on Twitter.
Yes, at the Wine Night Pod.
At Twitter and the tweets. We do the tweets too. We got 140 characters to get our shit off. You know what I mean?
And we use the 20 minutes on.
But if it's the second, well, thanks for the stream, but still make sure you like, subscribe, and share that bitch.
Thanks. Come on, you do that shit for all the other crappy YouTube videos you see. Come on.
Facts, right. I honestly just started liking, as much as I'm a YouTuber. Oh, my bad, what?
I was going to say, look, you don't even got to leave a whole long-ass comment. You can go right into YouTube. And you can go right into iTunes. Click the 4 stars, dip. Just that fast.
Honestly, I just started doing the whole, I'm a huge YouTuber and I just started liking people's stuff and subscribing and shit like that because I realized it is important.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you if you follow anybody's stuff, you know what I mean, like it. Just give it a like. You know, if you really like it and you check out that vlog all the time, subscribe to that shit.
Nah, that's a fact.
Like, because those things matter. Like, and I know it means nothing to us. It's just like, but that shit matters to algorithms and people that's potentially trying to monetize their stuff. So those little things, press that like button, it really helps out. So not even just for our own show, but for anybody. Like I said, if you follow somebody's stuff on YouTube, whatever the case may be, and they up and coming, give them that tap, give them that like, give them that subscribe. And if you really fuck with it, share that. You know what I mean? But yeah, thanks for the stream. Peace and love, y'all.
Bye.